We'll be working on those graphics. Hello,
Perfect.
everyone. Welcome to the third edition of PMQ Live Updates. I'm your host, Brian Hernandez. And I'm here today with the one, the only, Lars Smith of State of Mind Public House and Pizzeria in Los Altos, California. Lars, say hi to the world.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Well, the world says hello back. So, yeah, we want to, again, kind of keep you guys updated on what some of our U.S. Pizza team members and just people in the industry in general are doing to kind of weather the storm here in these crazy times. So I wanted to talk with Lars about a few different things. He's got some good ideas. He's got a good attitude. He's not a bad person. So I'm going to – Usually. Well, I have to keep him reined in sometimes. But that's fun. That makes my job fun. So – hold on one second. Mute that. Again, growing pains here, guys. All right, so here we go. So it looked like you're cradling my face. Again, testing new lighting options. It's kind of weird here. Blake, this is for you. So, all right, without further ado, now people have jumped in and we're ready to go. Let's kind of jump right into it. So I am here with Lars Smith of State of Mind Public House and Pizzeria in Los Altos, California. And I wanted to ask you, with the very first question I'm asking everybody, is what was the first thing you had to adjust? When did it hit you that this is the new reality? What's the first thing you did, and how has it kind of progressed in the last few weeks?
So being in California, we were pretty early on this whole crisis here. I guess Washington hit first, but we kind of saw it coming, paying attention to what our local political leaders and like governing agencies were saying. But we knew about actually 2 weeks ago today, we knew that things were going to change rapidly. And 2 weeks ago today, after we closed service Friday, which is the last regular service we did, we took out half of the chairs and tables in the restaurant because there was new requirements here to get everything down by half, and discuss strategy for curbside takeout and how to keep the staff safe. And we figured if we can keep the staff safe, we're going to be keeping the customers safe.
Okay. So that's the first thing you did, just kind of reducing the urge to sit and mingle.
Yes.
Okay. So where have you guys kind of progressed from there? I mean, where are you at now?
Well, it came real quickly. And we had 2 emergency owners meetings that week before we took out the chairs because we knew that this was going to be happening real quickly. So it progressed really quickly. So then Saturday, we limited not only the seating in here, but limited the amount of people we let in at any one time because we have a 136 seat restaurant here. And they were saying that 50 was what it kind of was a reasonable amount. So we had to do that. And then we saw by Sunday that a order for shelter in place was imminent here. So Sunday after lunch service, we shut the dining room down completely and went into online ordering only and phone orders. And then by Monday morning, we were doing curbside, online, nobody allowed in the restaurant at all at any time that wasn't an employee. So it happened real quick for us.
Well, yeah, and you said that you saw that it was imminent. I mean, this comes, I think what we were talking with LaMarca last time is being involved in the local Chamber of Commerce and figuring that stuff out. So, I mean, is that that's how you're kind of getting the heads up to kind of figure out what's coming up?
Yep. And talking to regulars that came in, if you would be surprised about who comes into your restaurant that that their neighbor works for the CDC or their best friend is a doctor. And so we had people coming in saying, hey, Monday morning, shelter in place is coming. I just heard from my friend who works for the county. And sure, it's hearsay, but I'm listening to it, sort of taking it with a grain of salt, but also coming up with a business plan so we're being proactive and not reactive to it because that's always going to put you in a better place.
Right. Well, and that's a thing about getting ahead of it. It's better to plan for something that doesn't happen than to not have planned for something that's going to eventually happen. So,
yeah.
All right, man. Well, there's a couple of topics that I wanted to kind of talk with you about now. State of Mind Public House. You're a pub.
Yeah, call whatever you want.
No, I'm just saying, it's public house. It's a pub. That's where the term came from. You guys do a lot of craft beers there locally. I know there's a lot of stuff, and we're going to talk more in depth later with Joey Carvelis from Georgia and Carvelis Pizza Co. about having to fight to get carry-out beers. I mean, was that mandated quickly, or did it pass, or did you have to work for that, or?
So our license in California, we're the liberal state, but we have pretty conservative liquor laws in general here. Our license already allowed us to do canned beer or bottled beer and wine, as long as it's sealed, we could already sell it to go. So that was immediate. We started doing that about 6 months ago. The margins aren't as high, but there's demand for it. So we already had a full case of canned beer and bottled wine to go. But very quickly, within 1 week, the ABC here, the Governing Alcohol Board in California, said that you can do draft beer, single serve wine, like open wine, and actually hard alcohol to go, as long as it's in a sealed container. You have to post a notice that they provided and let customers know that it needs to go in the trunk or somewhere that it's not accessible. So we're stapling it in bags, but that happened real quick. So we pivoted, and we're doing a little bit of that, but mostly cans and bottles still.
Okay. So, I mean, but again, they were quick to pass that. It's not anything you had to go fight tooth and nail for.
Unbelievably quick. And we've actually been part of a couple craft beer groups here in California that we've been advocating that for 2 years now, saying that we should be able to sell growlers or, containers that are sealed and labeled to go anyways. The breweries are allowed to do it here. So there's already, I think that they knew that people wanted to do it and people would take advantage of it. And it's going to help a lot with, I'm still going to lose beer. Beer doesn't last forever in a keg. We're 100% going to eat. We have 31 taps. We're going to eat some beer, but we're trying to move as much as we can before that happens.
Well, that naturally segues into my next question. Well, maybe not naturally, but I'm asking everybody about staff appreciation and or benefits. I know you guys are doing some great stuff there, but I mean, is that something where, you got the beer, we can't sell it? Are you guys having staff keggers there, or and beyond the kegger parties? I mean, what are you guys doing to help your staff as far as retention, if you had to lay them off, keeping them to come back, or what benefits you can offer them right now?
So I'm not going to lie, we drank a lot of beer the first week of this happening. It's we drank a lot of beer. We already give our staff a shift beer that's over 21. So that's something that on every shift, at the end of their shift, staff can have a beer if they want. Though we used to be able to, we did sell canned and bottled beers to the staff. We're not doing that now because there's such a demand for it, and it's hard for us to get it right now with everything shut down. But to further, that's a good segue. It was sort of natural. Our staff's our family. And in some cases, actually our family. My brother's my business partner. My best friend's my business partner. My wife works here. And we have the kitchen. A lot of them are brothers, sisters, cousins. They live together. We are family. And so the first thing that was really hard to do is we did have to lay off our front of house staff on Monday because we have no dining room, and we needed to make sure that this business survives this. So we had to cut half of our staff, which was the most excruciating business decision that we've ever had to make. And I know everybody out there had to do similar things. Never planned on doing that. But beyond, the mechanics of that is that we believe in taking care of our people here. So immediately, for two reasons: one, to take care of our people, and one, to kind of close the circle of exposure and making sure that we're working as safely as possible. As I started using our distributors to buy groceries, toilet paper, meat, vegetables, fruit, things that we're never even going to serve to customers. I started buying those and kind of creating a communal grocery store here just for my staff. We're not selling groceries or anything like that to customers, though we've helped people in the neighborhood that haven't been able to get certain things. But I'm making sure that my staff isn't worried about where their next meal is coming from, how they're going to cook for their kids, and that they're also not going out to the grocery store and interacting with 100 people out there. And that's going to keep me safe. That's going to keep my kids safe. That's going to keep my parents, who I'm still seeing, safe. So there's kind of a two-part to that. And we're cooking a lot of family meals because we have a little bit of extra time on our hands, which has been really fun.
I mean, so are you just kind of, I don't want to say burning off product that you have there for the family meals, but I mean,
no, we're not burning off product. We've actually we are selling okay. I mean, overall sales are not great, but our food sales and our core sales are okay. We're not cooking things that are going to go bad. But I'm cooking family meals so that my guys are fed and they feel good. Sure. A lot of them, I don't know what all of their home situations are, and I don't think they'd tell me if they couldn't get groceries. A lot of them, particularly the guys in the kitchen, they're proud people, and they're not going to say, "Hey, I have no food at home." But if I put it out there for them and I buy it, they're going to take it. So
right,
it makes me feel good.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not the kind of a reactionary type thing where you're trying to make sure that you're not wasting food. I'd rather have somebody eat it before I waste it. But I don't even want to say charitable, but you're doing what you can for your staff to make sure. It's like, But also, I think that raises people's spirits. And then this is the kind of the underlying, everybody I've talked to, I'm booked up through next Friday, guys. I got people now coming out wanting to talk to us about this stuff. And I'm always looking for unique ideas. And I did forget to mention, I'm sorry, Blake, feel free to post questions in the live Facebook feed or on if you join through the webinar, please. We will address them. Tell Lars, what you think of him, why he shaved his beard. Do you miss the beard? Things like that. But, we'll get to that. But the underlying thing that I'm hearing from a lot of people is just portraying strength and calmness and normalcy. So that's what you're trying to do, and then just having food and just making sure everybody's happy as far as your staff. So
yeah, and I mean, and it reflects our values as business people, as a family ran business, is that I want to make sure that my people are taken care of too. We often get overlooked in the food industry of taking care of ourselves. We're not all the best at self-care. I want to make sure that everybody that works for me isn't worried about we're worried about a lot of things right now, but they're not worried about going to the grocery store. Is it safe, or where their next meal is coming from, or if they even have time to go to the grocery store. It's just one less thing for them to worry about right now. Absolutely. And I should say that our kitchen staff, all except one of our kitchen staffs, we have 17 guys in the kitchen, and all except one have been laid off of their other jobs. So we are their only source of income right now. So I take that pretty seriously.
Well, that's great. It's nice to hear. And that's the best part of this. That's my favorite question in this, is hearing what you guys are doing for the staff, because it is very familial. Again, restaurant industry is cutthroat, but the pizza segment is just, they're there for each other.
Yeah.
So I got numerous topics. I'm going to try to pare it down. But I wanted to jump to rent deferment. You're one of the first person, obviously probably not the first person, but one of the first people I saw posting up in our group about talk with your landlords, or my landlord's going to allow me to do this. You just rent deferment. Do you have a special way to approach them? Or, what's your deal? And how would you, suggest other people approach that with their landlords?
So I'm lucky that with a lot of these things that we're going to go over today, I'm lucky that just kind of by happenstance, I've already dealt with some of these issues throughout the business in the last 2 years. And then they got brought up again by this crisis, and I kind of knew how to navigate it. And my dad's been helping a lot. But we had an issue when we were building the restaurant where things took way too long and we were running out of money. So we had to go kind of with our tail between our legs and talk to our landlord, and he helped us out. So this time what we did, and I would suggest everybody, one, always have a good relationship with your landlord. I know it can be a contentious relationship, but there's really no benefit to being on not good terms with your landlord. If you need something, they should want to help you, right? Because if you succeed, they succeed. You can't pay, if you don't have money for rent, they're not getting rent whether they want it or not. So go talk to them and let them know what's going on. In a constructive way, going and saying, I'm not paying rent this month, probably is not going to get you the reaction that you are hoping for. If you go and say, hey, the business is really hurting right now, we can't operate normally, I'm struggling, can we work something out? You're probably going to get a much better reaction. And there's things like adding 1 or 2 months on to the end of the term, so that they're going to get the same amount over the term. What we're going to do, or what we have done, is the landlord owes us a little bit of money from rectifying the CAM or triple net fees last year, the communal fees, because he owns multiple properties right here. So he owes us some of that. And then what we're going to rectify that right now, or sort that out right now. So there's a credit that he owes us, but we're also going to take, depending on how long this goes, not pay rent for a month or two. And he's going to build that rent back in over the remaining 7 years of our lease. So I'm going to have to pay this month and next month rent, but it's going to be hundreds of dollars instead of thousands of dollars right now, hundreds of dollars over the next 7 years each month, which is totally manageable, assuming that we get out of this.
Right. Yeah. It's not like another payment, but just adding a little on to the next one. So
my rent schedule, and we'll have it, and it's going to be official in a document, and my rent schedule will change because I already have increases over every 2 years. There's already these things in there. We're just going to create a new rent schedule when this is over, and that's going to be what it is. And we're going to remain having a really great relationship.
All right. Well, that's very important information for anybody out there. A lot of places are doing this, credit card companies, mortgage companies and stuff like that, or, home mortgages and things like that. They're doing deferment. They understand.
And they're not going to owe. It's not going to go away. The deferment of your mortgage doesn't mean you're going to owe less on your house. It just means that you're going to have to figure. And it is kicking the can a little bit, but as long as they're willing to not double. And there are some people I've said, like, okay, in 3 months you owe 3 months of rent. Like, that's going to bury somebody. Talk about how do you build it in over the next 7 years? And sure, it's, the landlord's gonna have to wait a little bit longer, but the alternative is no rent, right? The alternative is going belly up, and no landlord in their right minds thinks that if one of us goes belly up, that they're going to be able to have somebody lease it out next month, the month after, or the month after that. Nobody's going to be having money to do that for a while.
No, yeah, especially right now, if they lose you guys who are paying rent or, established, renters, nobody's going to come in and take it. So they'll just be eating that
right
too.
now.
So. I like how you brought that up though too. It's just make sure you talk with them and make sure it's not some kind of balloon payment at the end where you deferred 3 months and now you owe 3 months rent in one single payment. Make sure you work out the terms to where it is kind of built in throughout the process, or maybe you add 3 months onto a 5-year lease or something like that. So,
and I mean that, I don't know how much we're going to get into the finances right now, but like that was something that you and I talked about, but like, taking on massive amounts of debt right now to get through right now probably isn't the best for most restaurants, especially where we have thin margin. And even the best restaurant has thin margins in the business world. That taking on a bunch of debt just to get through right now probably isn't the best bet. But like taking a micro loan or taking multiple micro loans or deferring rent over the course of the remainder of your lease term, if you think about that, that's a little bit. That's not going to completely bury you.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Don't bury yourself. Don't put your head in the sand like an ostrich. So, all right, that's some great information right there. And anybody else who has comments or questions, please, if you have more information about this, go ahead and chime in right now, and we'll address them. If you have any questions for Lars, let me know, and I will get those out there to him. But I wanted to move on to another one that I saw. Again, I assume you're not the first person who did this, but you're the first person that I saw was doing this, gift cards. You were saying that, as all this is hitting, business is going down on this side, but gift card sales were going through the roof, and you grabbed onto that and kind of tell people, how that can help and how you did it.
Yes. So I'm not really sure how we did it. It's one of those things that it was like a little bit.
Interview over. No, I'm sorry, guys. Tune out. He's done.
It was a customer that kind of brought this up to us, but it's a little bit by happenstances. We've been working heavily on our online infrastructure. Online ordering, takeout, and gift cards are things that we've been focused on as an ownership group in the last 6 months. So that's something that we were like uniquely positioned to be ready to do this. But the first, I don't remember who it was, but one of our regular customers, without saying anything, walks in and says, I want to buy, and this is before we even shut down. This was when things were getting bad here and schools were getting canceled and it was kind of imminent. And a lady walks in and goes, not a lady, a regular customer walks in and goes, hey, I'd like to buy $1,000 gift card. And we were like, what? Like, okay. And then we talked to her about it and she goes, I have no intent of ever using this gift card. This is for you and your staff. Take care of everybody. One, I look tough with my beard and tattoos. I'm not. We all started crying because, I know that we provide a service and that we're valuable in our community, but like this brought out just how much people care about us and how much having a place for the community to go and a neighborhood pizzeria and pub means to them. So I said, okay. Hey, I felt a little uncomfortable at the time because I was like, I'm not a charity. Like we're a business. We sell things. We took it and bought her a glass of wine. And then I had 2 or 3 emails the next day asking, hey, how do we buy online gift cards? And I had the link, but we were rebuilding our website based on all the things we had been working on. We didn't have it built in our website. So my wife edited the website, put it on our splash page, and I put it on the social media. And within seven days, we had almost $10,000 in gift cards, and a lot of them with direct messages saying, we will not be spending this, which is just insane to me. But people want to support you,
Well, at that point, it becomes it's nice. So I did want to kind of follow up on that because at this point, it's a donation to your staff. I mean, when they buy $1,000 gift card, they're not going to spend. That's money that now goes into state of mind to help your staff. So I mean,
and some people are going to spend it.
True.
I guess I should say that too. I don't want to make it sound like everybody. I mean, there are some really big gift cards that we were just completely blown away by that had the intention of not. There's also a lot of $50 and $100 that people are going to spend. And I've heard both sides of this saying, well, this is just, you're going to have to pay this back later because you're going to have to provide product. But sure, and we all know how gift cards work. It's not realistic that somehow the whole bill on all the gift cards is going to be due the day that we reopen, right? So you can look at it as micro loans, and it may be no different than a normal day's discounts for most restaurants, is that you're going to give away $100 a day for 5 days or 3 days a week. If you look at it overall, it's no different than discounts or, a complaint or having to, you burn a pizza. You look at it, it's not that much different, and you're getting cash on hand now to get through the storm.
Well, and the same thing too, though, is that, like you said, that other people are actually just buying other gift cards. So this is something where, a son can go buy something for his parents, or anybody can go buy something for their parents, or parents can go buy something for their children,
and giving them to first responders. People have been giving them to first responders or for hospital staff too. Buying, I have a friend who's working on that for multiple restaurants right now and trying to donate them to hospitals to make sure that they stay fed. So there's all these things, and it's all, it's helping a lot of people, and it's just another option of cash flow for us and to help our staffs.
Absolutely, and that's it's terrible that it takes something like this for us to put the human in human decency again. But I'm really uplifted by seeing a lot of people, stepping up to the plate and doing things like this. Charitable. I mean. Yeah, I don't want to not use that word because it is charity, but we have to be charitable to each other. So,
it's hard for a lot of us to be like, we are business owners, we're small business owners, we're proud people, we're strong people, we all have a good work ethic, and it's hard for me to take charity or take it as charity, but it's also an investment from our customers that, like, most of it was with the words, "Hey, you need to be here. I need you to be here when this is over." I need to be able to come here. I want to be able to, so it was also, self-serving is not the right word, but like people that were donating those gift cards were making an investment in their favorite restaurant or in my restaurant to be able to come here when this is over and have something to look forward to as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you want to keep the customers coming back, and anybody you maybe had to kind of furlough, you want those employees to come back as well. At this point, I just wanted to just address some of the guys in the comment section. Will Grant, another beard aficionado.
What's up, sexy?
Yeah, he says, "What happened to the beard? I don't think he likes you anymore." He's got a.
It was the first victim.
I mean, just talk about that briefly, just real quick. I mean, it's one of the safety mandates. I mean, yeah, it gets everywhere, and if I could grow a beard that big, I'd be sad to lose it. So I live vicariously through your beard. So,
well, we can talk later about how chicken manure can help you grow a beard. We probably should do that off camera. But
it's live, dude. It's out there now. So okay.
It seemed like the right thing to do. We're getting a lot. Nobody specifically said anything about my beard, but we were getting to the point where customers were really engaged in what our safety measures were, and what was going on. And like, we've never had any food issues here or whatever, but it seemed like a prudent thing to do at the time for my safety, for the safety of my customers, and kind of the perceptions that we're taking it seriously. It just kind of seemed like the right thing to do. I don't, my beard will be back.
It shall return. But also, I mean, even our good friend Carmine Testa, shout out to Carmine. And he's been getting super fit. He was trying to go for his birthday, and he was growing the beard, and that was the first casualty. But I did see that picture of him like doing push-ups with a 50-pound bag of flour on his back. I am super inspired, man. I'm getting the Bowflex out of the garage. We're gonna do it, but again, it's all about safety. But you, as the head of State of Mind, have to project that. You got to lead by example. So, and
we know by the regulations that all of us deal with throughout the country, and California is particularly strict, is that a lot of food safety measures are actually for perception less so than having quantitative food safety reasons for them. Is that a lot of it is that, if you look clean, people assume the food's clean. If you and that kind of thing. So it just seemed prudent. I don't know. I feel like less of a man, but
well, it's the same as you eat with your eyes. You got to make it look nice. Otherwise you don't want to eat it. So again, it's just projecting that image. So
and if we do have to start wearing masks and all of that, there was like pretty specific information that if you have a beard, not, trimmed is fine, but that the masks don't work. Okay. I can't get any masks, so it doesn't. It's kind of a moot point at this point. But
I just saw something like one of the craft shops is just donating like just fabric so people can make masks. So, but I did also want to George Taylor. I spoke with him last night of Taylor's neighborhood sandwich shop or sub shop and pizzeria.
The man.
Yeah, he he has, and I'm going to get to yours as well, Carmelo. But he says this is what he wants to ask is, what's the mix of what you're selling? How has the mix of what you're selling changed? Because he said that you do a lot of like gourmet style pizzas. Your stuff is fantastic. Are people kind of buying now for sustenance versus luxury? I mean, have you taken down some of the, or are you getting more of just like the regular pepperonis versus some of your more gourmet type pizzas?
So for like, just to not waste things and all that, we were supposed to change our spring. We change menus seasonally. We change 5 or 6 menu items, some pizzas and all that every 3 months. That was supposed to hit last week. I didn't seem like a great idea to do bringing all this new stuff in a new menu in this time of uncertainty. So we did run out of all of our gourmet items, and we sold them. And I brought in a couple other specials. I'm going to do some fresh produce specials this weekend. But the mix of our products hasn't changed at all. I think people know that we have higher quality ingredients and produce that they can get at most grocery stores, and they want to, have us cook food for them. And it's been a little heavier on pizza. Like we do a lot of pizza, but we also do sandwiches, burgers, salads, appetizers, wings, everything fresh, in-house, made from scratch. There's been a little bit heavier on the quantity of pizzas opposed to salads, wings, and burgers than we would do in a normal day. But in general, the food sales and breakdown are reasonably steady.
Okay.
Except pesto. Everybody wants pesto. This needs to be a whole show. I've made 4 times as much pesto in the last 2 weeks as I have ever. It makes no sense.
We'll bring you back in a couple of weeks and we'll talk about the pesto situation.
We might have to. Well, we might not get pesto.
You got to make it. So anyway, I got 2 more things real quick, but I did want to say one's going to be the tech, and you know what I'm talking about. But the other one is supporting your local businesses as a business, supporting other local businesses. I mean, that seems like it's kind of important in this era. I mean, at this point, they might have been your competitors, but now they're not. They're in the same boat as you, and we don't want them to necessarily go out of business. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I can see a hat up there.
Show everybody my hat. Well, man, you have to be drunk to read this because it's backwards in the camera, isn't it?
No, I can see it. Chef Choose 50 years.
So this is Los Altos, which is the town we're in institution. It's a Chinese restaurant that's been open for 50 years. It was voted like #1 Chinese restaurant in the country on, I think it's USA Today or something like that. They're really, really incredible people and do a ton for the community. So I have been supporting them. I'm wearing their hat today. And while we are struggling financially, like all restaurants, we have been trying to buy some family meals at the various restaurants around us to support them as well and to let them know that we care.
Nice.
And part of it I see also is that, we use a lot of local products. You and I talked about that on the podcast, is continuing to buy those products and invest in my distributors, because most of our distributors are actually locally based. And part of buying groceries for the staff also is supporting those jobs upstream. Our produce company, for one, is really, really struggling right now. I'm having a hard time getting everything that we normally get, not just the seasonal and wild stuff, but just things in general, because, you think we're doing bad, is think about some of these distributors who do not just pizza and takeout joints. They've seen 90% of their restaurants just close. A lot of the fine dining restaurants and places here are just closed. And that's who I buy most of my stuff is for the same. I buy produce and meat from vendors that serve all the Michelin star restaurants around here, and they're not open right now. So just trying to support all the local businesses that I can.
Well, that's definitely awesome. It's a good, I don't want to say it's a good lesson, but it's a good practice for other people to kind of take up. And I'm sorry again, we are third round in, so I'm trying to get some of these graphics up and stuff like that. But our good editor Blake Harris is going to make this up after the fact. He's going to chop it up and put out the best nuggets. And it's going to
You're doing a good job, Brian. You're doing a really good job.
Well, I mean, I went and mined all your website last night about just even kind of some of the signs that you were putting up at the beginning, as far as the progression. But what I really want to ask now is let's move on to kind of the tech set. Well, no, actually, I'm sorry. Carmelo, he said that they tried gift cards at the restaurant. It doesn't work, but he says just kind of pay it forward. So, I mean, I mean, if gift cards don't work, do you have any other suggestions at that point as far as like trying to get people to come in and maybe spend money there but pass it on? Any other?
I mean, there's a lot of ways if you're trying to like just pay it forward or whatever. You could, we took an order that somebody wanted to donate to the firehouse, and I just took the order and we delivered it to the firehouse. We don't even deliver, but it was like for first responders. My brother hopped in the car and took it all over there. I think you got to figure out what works for you and what works for your community. Obviously, we have a really tech savvy community here, so people wanted to do online gift cards. It was easy for them to do. They figured it out. That was cool for us, but you got to know your community, know your customers, and figure out the best way to kind of harness people's energy of sitting at home and feeling like they can't help, and figure out how to get them to help because they want to. People really want to support their local communities and feel part of that right now. And so that's kind of on each individual operator to help try to figure out on their own. So you lost me.
Lost your face.
I'm back.
There we go.
No, somebody's come on the phone. Somebody tried to call, but I don't want to talk to them.
No worries. But I want to put a shout out to Carmelo. He's the one asking those hard hitting questions. He's the gotcha journalist. But no, that's great. A great answer. I mean, just kind of know your community and figure out how you can pay it forward. If this doesn't work for you, adapt it. So we'll move on to the last subject that I want to talk to you about real quick. Is and this was a vague thing that you told me, so I don't know anything about it. So
sweet.
Explain it to us. Tech guys partnering with local restaurants to promote, and then I have ...
So tech guys it's a very technical term. I'm in the heart of Silicon Valley here and don't own a computer. So forgive me for not knowing the right terminology for all of this. But we live I live and work in a really wonderful small community. We're really close to like Facebook and Google, and there's some of the, I think the smartest people in the world around here. This is not an initiative that I started that I take any credit for, but the local business organizations here, one of which I am involved with, I'm the vice president of the Downtown Association here, which is wild. They let me be the vice president of anything. Brian will probably say that that's pretty wild. But the Chamber of Commerce, the Village Association here, the downtown property owners, and a couple people that are involved in venture capital startups, that kind of thing, all got their brains together and said, hey, let's figure out how to help the restaurants particularly. So they started this thing called #Los Altos Strong. They're trying to figure out a central landing place to show which restaurants are open for takeout, how to order from them, what services they're providing to the public. And then on the back end, they've started some chat app that people use that I'm on. I don't know what it's called. But they're trying to provide resources and a place that we can exchange information with all the restaurant owners in Los Altos through a chat. And then we're doing weekly calls that they are providing information to us that they're getting from the banks that they're involved with, from the startup and tech companies they're involved with, and letting them know in which ways we need help that maybe we don't know how to navigate. These guys do huge investments in startup businesses and tech businesses. They understand the banking system and the regulatory systems and all that stuff way better than we do. So it's pretty cool to be able to hear what their take is on it. Which is big. It's not going to happen everywhere, but I think organization, right? Like, yeah, they're normally your competitors, but who around you? Are you talking to other restaurant owners? Are you trying to figure out what's going on in your community and maybe how you could all work together to either advocate for yourselves to let people know you're open or to make sure that you can stay open?
Well, and that's actually that's a perfect segue into the one of the last two questions I got is that we talked about partnering with other local establishments. Now I know you said you're buying meals from other establishments to feed your staff and stuff like that. Would you guys ever get together on some kind of a big community outreach thing, or besides Los Altos Strong, which sounds great, and I wish I had the graphic for that. But is there other things that you're doing or you're seeing coming up, or maybe suggestions for people?
Well, I've seen Leah Skirdo, who's on the U.S. Pizza team, who's one of my mentors and best friends. She just opened a couple weeks ago. So she has an ice cream shop that's local that's selling out of her restaurant. We're not doing that because we have just limited operations and trying to figure it out how we do that. But we're more just I'm trying to order beer from the small breweries and trying to give them an outlet to sell it because the breweries are closed here and that kind of stuff. Though things may change as go on and try to collaborate more.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you brought her up because, she's on my list too, as well as hashtag Gianni Gallucci and Michael
Are you
Wolf.
sure?
Well, because the three of them, all three of them have actually opened up something recently. So I want to talk with people about, what kind of, I'm sorry, hearing the phone, what kind of hurdles you have to jump through after you just opened up and then all this stuff happened. How you guys staying afloat? I mean, nobody wants to close for sure. But I think it's especially harder for somebody who just opened up versus somebody who's been kind of around for a few years. So we're going to try to talk with people about that. But
and I just want to say that I've been thinking about all three of them a lot. I know I keep in touch with all three of them, but I can't imagine. I mean, I'm having a hard time with this, and I can't imagine what they're going through. And just want to send all my love out to all three of them.
Well, and again, that kind of brings me to my last question or statement question. Lars, I did want to say thank you because you were projecting an attitude of just normalcy, calmness, and strength in our personal chat group, but also online with your social media presence. That's what we need because some people can kind of flip out. Others don't take it serious enough. You're that Goldilocks. You're right in the middle.
Yeah.
Just right. So I wanted to say thank you for that. Definitely thank you for coming on here. And letting everybody know what you're doing. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions. We talked to Carmelo. Again, like I said, thanks, Carmelo. Keep those hard-hitting questions coming. At this last point, I just wanted to say, is there a last thought? I mean, you're one of the hardest hit areas right now. You're kind of at the forefront. Yeah. I don't want to say the forefront of this, but you got hit before a lot of other people. Can you tell people what to expect and maybe what to plan for?
Well, I think we touched on it earlier is be proactive. Don't wait to hear what's going to happen around you or what restrictions are going to get put on you if there aren't already any. Be proactive, make a plan, figure out what's going to happen and how you're going to weather that storm. I got to give a little credit to Michael LaMarca, who has been a mentor of mine for a couple of years now since you introduced the two of us. But he gave me great advice that I needed to put money in savings. So I had a plan for this, but we also, when we saw this coming, sat down, looked at our finances and what do we need and how are we going to get through this? You need a plan that this is going to last for a while. You want to make sure that you can weather the storm. So be proactive and get a plan for everything now.
Okay. Well, I mean, it keeps coming back to that, guys. Get involved in your local community because that's how you're going to get the information first and be ready to go. So,
it's not and that's a good business thing. And just in general, I mean, you always want to be proactive and not reactive. You want to try to, we all do this every day. You wouldn't show up to a Friday night not being ready for a Friday night or assuming what your sales are going to be. Don't, show up next week to work assuming or not assuming, but having a plan for what you expect the climate to be next week and the week after and the week after. And I guess from being out here where our state government is pretty on top of what's going to happen and telling us what to expect is that guys get ready for this for the long haul. And I know that's not a popular opinion with a lot of people, but the virus doesn't care about Easter or state borders or whatever. Is that we all need a plan to keep our businesses alive and be safe and keep on keeping on for a while.
Yeah. And and especially on that, I wanted to say that, coming up on Sunday, where we're going to be talking with Joey Carvelis of Carvelis Pizza Co. in Hogansville, Georgia. And basically, since it's not hit us as hard down here in the South yet, he had to go to the city council to fight to get, liquor and beer to go sales. But also what I really like is that he's got 3 revenue plans. He had that months ago or weeks ago. It's like,
that's awesome.
As soon as we hit this point and we can't, as soon as we go under this amount of revenue, we have to go to plan B. And he's got plan B through C, B through D.
That's so smart. That's what my wife does all the books, and my dad, who kind of runs the general finances, they sat down last week and said, if we make this much, if we make this much, we make this much, here's position, how long can we last? How much do we have in reserves for this much time? And if we can't make that, what do we have to do? So don't just wait, and don't bleed, nobody bleed out. There may be things, and I would never encourage somebody to close, but closing for 6 weeks may be better than bleeding out for 6 weeks, right? How are we all here in the end of this, right? How do we all survive the storm? And there's not a one size fits all solution.
Yeah. And, and like I said, he was the first one who kind of put it out to me, and I assume I hope that everybody else is doing that. They're planning for the future, just kind of being forward thinking, like you said,
and being honest.
Don't be reactionary.
What's going
proactive.
On? Yeah, and being honest about how bad it might get, and what you need, and what makes sense for your business and your family, and what doesn't make sense for your business and your family.
Yeah. So absolutely. Take care. You got to take care of yourself first, because if you don't do that, you can't take care of everybody that you want to take care of. So, it's tomorrow, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to have Derek Tung of Pauly G's in Logan Square in Chicago. We're going to talking about.
He better be wearing a bandana, dude. If he's not wearing a bandana, I'm not watching.
All right, you hear that, Derek? Yeah, wear that bandana. I think there's an NRA thing going on right now.
Yeah, he's sending us messages in the chat right now that he's got it all. So there's some cool stuff happening, guys, right now too. So be sure that talk to your bank, talk to your lender.
Yeah,
all that stuff. Get ahead of it.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah, they can hear all the beeps coming over here. They're probably talking about it right now. But definitely check that out. We're gonna end this here in just 2 seconds. But tomorrow we're gonna talk to Derek Tung at 3 p.m. 3 seconds. Stop, Lars. Okay. Lars. So Derek Tung tomorrow, but he's gonna talking about using third-party ordering services, not like delivery services, but call centers and stuff like that. I have a whole other list. I'll put that up here right after we're done here. But Lars, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for all the information. I hope you guys stay safe, but keep doing what you're doing. Keep feeding the community. Take care of your staff. Take care of your families. Any final message you want to give the world out there?
I just want to tell everybody that I love the whole pizza community. Be kind to each other. Be kind to your communities. And if anybody needs anything, you can reach out to me personally on social media. I'd be happy to, I don't know everything, but I feel like I've learned a lot of things in the last 18 years in this business. And I'd be happy to help any individuals that are struggling or have questions with anything I can. I'll be totally honest and candid with all of you if anybody wants to reach out to me.
What's the best way for somebody to reach out to you? Email or Facebook message or something like that?
You can go on stateofmindpublichouse.com. All the info stuff gets to me, or just look me up on social media. I'm sure a lot of us are already friends and follow each other on social media. But Lars Smith, look it up, add me as a friend or whatever. I'd be happy to help wherever I can.
All right, Lars. Well, again, I really appreciate your time today. The phone's ringing. I'm going to let you go. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This is a PMQ Live Update. I'm Brian Hernandez here with the great Lars Smith. You guys be safe.
You too.
And stay sane.